So, what advice do you give to women who feel disconnected from intimacy because of past emotional wounds or trauma?
Mm, that's such an important question, and one that so many women quietly struggle with, really. When a woman feels disconnected from intimacy because of past emotional wounds or trauma, my first suggestion is to give yourself grace.
Mm,
Healing doesn't happen overnight. And intimacy, whether emotional, physical, spiritual, requires safety, right? It requires trust. And it starts with rebuilding that trust, within yourself,
mm,
right? Take small, gentle steps back to your femininity, not for anyone else, but really for themselves. Sometimes that looks like honoring your body again. It may look like choosing softness, right? It may look like simply allowing yourself to feel beautiful without guilt, or even fear in many cases, right? Intimacy, long before it involves any other person, it really begins with how we speak to ourselves,
yes.
and that is so important, how we care for ourselves and how we show love for the parts of us that have been hurt,
Mm,
and so it all starts with, loving yourself, loving yourself, and having those honest conversations with yourself, getting to know you. Sometimes, and I'm sure you're the expert on this, but
yeah.
when women separate, divorce, it's like take some time before getting into, and men, before getting into another relationship, really take time to get to know you, love you, assess. I like to put business processes into everything, right? Because, it really does work in relationships too,
Mhm,
where you're really, have to take time and assess the situation. You take out the pain points, recognize what those are, and you learn how to improve those, change those, in some instances get rid of it,
mhm,
right? But it all starts with you. It all starts with us,
mhm. Yeah.
and so yeah. So my
Yeah.
advice is to heal at your own pace. That would be my advice. Heal at your own pace and surround yourself with women and people, who really pours into you.
Mhm. Yeah, that's good because I heard a therapist say, take take the healing out of the hands of those who harmed you.
Mm, powerful.
Yeah. And so sometimes, and I don't want to get too far off, but
Hmm.
sometimes we can wait for an apology and explanation. And so sometimes the majority of the time, you might not get it. And so what do you do with the pain that you're left with?
Yeah,
And so uh, that's when, like you say, you have to, be able to accept what happened, and to be able to move on at your own pace and get the necessary help that you need through therapy, through books, or podcasts, or groups. There's even some social media groups that's very private that
exactly.
help tackle some of those situations, and just having somebody that you can trust ultimately. um,
Absolutely.
and I want to save that question for last because dealing with, and we talked about that, the heart, and dealing
Hmm.
with yourself. And so when the beauty starts within, and so when you can tackle those personal issues from within, it
Right.
does radiate. It does, people feel that good energy from you. um, and then it even can stimulate deeper conversations, say even for you and your spouse. You
That's
got on
right.
your lingerie, yeah, you're both in the bed, and you
Yeah,
having these heartfelt conversations, and maybe we never talked about this one issue before, or something I really want to share with you, and so that intimacy grows deeper, um, just by having those
absolutely.
conversations. Yeah.
I totally, totally agree. And one of the things I love that you said is, therapy. I think it's great, and, you don't have to, I always say, don't wait until you got a problem to go to a therapist, go down,
Yeah.
I, for years, had challenges with everything had to be perfect, everything had to be perfect. I wouldn't send an email out unless I reviewed it 5 times, everything that the dot over the I, the T's, the
Yeah.
grammar, the comma, the semicolon, and that becomes stressful,
Yes.
and through therapy, I was able to relinquish that, and tap into being okay with knowing that there is no such thing as perfection. So I had to do the same thing I just said, and what I really promote, with women is give yourself grace, and every day I have to remind myself to give myself grace, right? Because life happens, and we've all experienced something, and so it's how do we deal with it, right? What are we doing to help ourselves get to that next phase, and that transformative phase where that we can be whole. I don't know any woman that doesn't want to be feminine. I just don't know many, you know what I mean? And
Yeah.
so being able to do that, is it's a great thing, and it's our right, and we can do it. We just have to regain that back,
Yeah.
and so yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And dealing with those personal issues, it, like you say, or like I was saying, it just makes you even that much more closer to yourself and to even with
Mhm.
your spouse, because you're dealing with your holistic self. It's not something that you maybe have to try to hide, or something that you really concealed, or you feel like you can't share with anyone. And so it makes the confidence even more stronger. It makes it bigger.
Yeah, absolutely. And it makes you feel valued, both parties actually, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. And and that's a whole episode within itself.
Right.
I,
Facts.
I want to let everyone know. Well, before we get into that, I want to take a moment from our sponsor at Love Fearlessly Intimacy Card Deck. My wife and I created 30 card intimacy deck. So whether you're married, if you're dating, engaged, you always getting to learn someone. It's always a process. And so having these 30 cards in a deck helps you get to experience that person in a deeper way. And so, Regina, I want to pull a card from the intimacy deck, and I want to ask you a question.
Okay.
Okay.
I need to
And
get those cards so that when I do the lingerie parties, those
uh,
gatherings, we need those.
that
We'll
would be
talk.
okay.
Yeah.
That'd be great. Love the idea. How did you manage hurt and disappointment growing up?
Mm. Wow, 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 wow. And I'm going to be very, very transparent. How did I manage hurt and disappointment growing up? One, I have to say, I come from truly a loving, very, very loving and supporting family.
Mm,
And a mother who is a praying mother at 93 years old. That woman is still praying for us, just putting that hedge of protection around us. But so I managed it through support,
mm,
support of my family, and my family, also exists, consisted of my extended family, like my best friends. One is no longer with us, Christine, and one, Regina, who has the same name. We share the same name. We were little Gina and big Gina, but that was my support, but also going back to self care, before it was a buzzword, it
yeah.
was something that we practice, within our family.
Yeah.
My grandmother, I grew up with my grandmother massaging me all the time. So I tell people now, like when I get stressed, I'll be like stressed from meetings and work and things like that. My massage therapist is on call, on speed dial. I'm like, I need to come over. I need to come over. So those are some of the ways I did. Also, laughter. Now, with that laughter, it's also part of not dealing with things that I didn't deal with too,
Mhm.
right? Because I mentioned very close family, but we were, me and my brother was really, really silly. Like everything was funny. And so we didn't take things personal. We
Yeah.
didn't take things personal, right? Because growing up, having a foundation in the church, from I was baptized at age 6, and so we grew up under the word and learning, So for me, um, that's what really helped to sustain me, my faith. In fact, the slogan, the North Star for Kaja Couture is rooted in faith and styled in confidence,
Mhm.
because that's what, that's my North Star, that faith for me. And
Love.
so I think with the culmination of those things that, God very early on, placed me with the family and the support system that existed around us and all the love that we had, um, and feeling safe, being able to talk, to people when I did was, having some challenges. That's what, really helped me sustain and kept me grounded.
Love it. Love it. Well, for those who are interested in the intimacy card deck, you can go to scarytoremarry.com/products and you will find it there, and we'll be able to send that out to you. So, thanks for the vulnerability for sharing that. And so, this is the bonus round. Regina,
Uh-oh.
this is Regina uncut, so there's no wrong answer.
Okay.
Okay. What's the biggest mistake you see women make when it comes to dating?
Not being intentional.
Can you
Not,
expound a little
yep,
bit?
absolutely. Not being intentional in regards to not knowing who they are, therefore not being able to make decisions of what they need and who they need and
Mm,
what they need from a relationship. Sometimes we just for the sake of dating or saying that we have someone, we tend to miss or ignore the red flags because we see the red flags. It's just that we choose to ignore them. And so being intentional, I think is really important. It's something that we miss.
mhm. Wow, that's good. Fill in a blank. My last relationship taught me.
My last relationship taught me how to be vulnerable.
Mm, that's good. That's good. Who makes a better spouse? Someone never married or someone divorced?
Hmm. Let me say it because I'm divorced. You said someone that remarried. Repeat that question again because I want to make sure I get this right.
Who makes a better spouse? Someone never married or someone divorced?
Oh, never married or oh wow, wow, wow. I think both. I think both can, based on where they are, because sometimes going in, not really, going in fresh, if you will,
Yeah.
not having that experience, you go in maybe open, whereas going in with preconceived notions, if you haven't healed from that divorce or it, whatever that may have led to. Because let's be honest, all divorces aren't, unhealthy, right? It's unfortunate, but not always unhealthy. There are people who, still or they're divorced, but their spouse and them, they just came to a decision that, what, this isn't going to work, but they're still friends. You,
Yep.
you know what I mean? And they still have a good relationship, right? But I think within every relationship, whether you're married, never been married, or you're divorced, it really comes about the lessons that you learn, right? And coming in as your whole self, not holding back, right? And what do I mean by that? Meaning making sure that you're able to be vulnerable with your spouse and that your spouse is able to be vulnerable with you. So that way you can grow, understand each other. When those challenges come, you better know, understand one another, and you can work through those things together. Right. So, yeah.
Mm.
But in this instance, I'm going to say those that are divorced, because I'm divorced. Long, long time ago, though.
What's harder for you to say? This is a multiple choice. Is it A, I apologize, B, I need help, C, I love you, or D, I was wrong?
Definitely, I need help.
That's a struggle
I
for you.
can say all of those other things, but something about me, because I've always been the person that everyone else come to when they need help,
Mm-hmm.
and so it's always been kind of challenging for me to say when I need help, right? Um, I'm getting there, I'm starting to get there, again, that's part of that vulnerability to also, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I'm learning how to ask for help, when I need it. But yeah, that would out of the selection, that would be the one for me.
Hmm. Understood. Understood. At what age did you fall in love with yourself?
Hmm. I think the moment I've realized myself is I've always loved yeah, yeah. I'm telling you, I've always just been so grateful for life.
Yeah.
I mean, literally, I have always been such a deep gratitude. Like every morning I wake up, so ever from the moment I realized, that I had breath in my body, I fell in love with myself. So I've always loved myself.
Nice. Nice.
And I
Last,
say that in the most humble way, right?
no,
But
that's a
with
beautiful thing.
gratitude.
Yes,
Yeah,
for sure. I mean, a lot of people can't say that. Some people are
yeah,
still, everybody's on a different path. So
right, absolutely.
last question: is it easier to love yourself or someone else?
Mm. Wow. I'm filled with so much love. I'm gonna say it's equal because yeah, I love everyone too,
Mhm.
I love people, and so it's easy for me to love both.
Mm, love it. That's the first.
Yep.
That's the first time. The first time that of everyone that I've interviewed, that's the first time I've heard that.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Wow. Awesome. Awesome. Well, Regina, this has been a phenomenal episode. Thank you so much for taking some time to be a guest today and being a part of your experience with the brand. And I mean, like I say, everything was done in excellence. I'm looking forward to see what the future holds for you as well. And so, to those who are interested, let everyone know how they can get in touch with you and how they can get to the website, all that other good stuff.
Absolutely, absolutely. And thank you so much, Sean, for having me as a guest on the show. I have had an amazing time. And so, for your listeners, my website is www.kaja and that's KAJACOUTURE, lingerie, lingerie.com, kajacouturelingerie.com. You can also reach us by phone, which is 866-935-2546. That number again is 866-935-2546. We would love to hear from you. We're on Facebook, Instagram, Kaja Couture. We would love to hear from you if you're looking to host a gathering with family and friends. If you're looking for a private fitting, we do wardrobe curation as well with lingerie and loungewear. We would love to service you and, bring you into our community.
Yeah. Awesome. Awesome. Love it. Well, I'll have everything linked in the description below. So for those
Um,
who are interested, I'll have that all the information linked below. Thank you once again for being a guest. After we are done, don't hang up yet. Uh,
okay.
Bravehearts community, thank you all for joining us today. Everyone who was able to rock with us, make sure you hit the like button. Make sure you share this video with someone because you never know what someone is struggling with. And so, if you have a group chat, put it in your group chat, share it with your friends because you never know. So, you go watch the video and then you come back and talk about it in your group chat and everything that you learned. If you are listening to this via podcast, make sure you leave a rating and review on Apple Podcasts. By doing so, put you in a drawing for a free Amazon gift card. So, who doesn't like free stuff? This is Shon Hyneman with my special guest. Am I pointing the right way? Yeah,
Yeah.
I think
On
so.
which side? Yes. Thank you.
All right, Brave Arts community, take care.